Today I will tell you a story from the burning streets of Iran. My story has two characters, a grieving mother Zara and his dead son. Zara received a call on her dead son's phone. The voice from the other side said, "Come to the morgue, come now before they take him." Zara didn't understand. Her son was already gone. Shot by the bullets of a regime he dared to challenge. She thought in her mind, what more could they take? But when she arrived at the Tehran morgue, the answer arrived with it. The body of her child was not hers to claim. The Islamic Republic owned even that. They wanted $7,000 or 1 billion Rials for her dead son. A figure so obscene it seemed impossible until she understood the mathematics of her family's devastation. Her dead son earned roughly $100 a month, and they were asking to pay 70 times his annual salary for the privilege of just burying him. In a country where mothers were choosing between medicine and food, the government is now demanding families pay for the bullets that kill their children. Well, countless Iranians have been killed in recent weeks, and their bodies are now being held hostage by the very regime that murdered them. It's humanity's darkest hour, where the Khamenei regime has descended to the depth of cruelty few regimes dare to approach. Well, it all started with citizens raging because they were starving under economic collapse, demanding basic food and medicines. And now the same Islamic Republic's authorities demand families purchase the right to bury their own dead, turning tragedy into a hideous revenue extraction scheme. Don't be mistaken, this practice is systematic, documented and deeply cynical. Well, as per reports, a family was told to pay 700 million Rials, approximately $5,000, to retrieve their relative's body from hospital, where at least 70 protests lay stacked in morgues. Similarly, in Tehran, relatives of a Kurdish construction worker were demanded 1 billion Rials or $7,000 to claim his remains, despite the worker's average monthly salary being less than $100. Wait, the cruelty doesn't end here. Those who cannot afford the ransom face an even darker fate. Authorities refuse to hand over the dead, instead burying them anonymously in unmarked graves, robbing 100 families of even the solace of a proper funeral. Now, as per another shocking revelation, families are pressured to sign false documents, falsely attributing deaths to natural cause like heart failure rather than bullet wounds from government forces. Now, looking at the situation, it seems the regime controls even the narrative of death itself. The scale of this horror is unmatched only by its symbolic significance. The Iranian economy has collapsed, with inflation soaring and the Rial falling to over 1.4 million to a dollar. The original spark for these protests was simple yet desperate. Iranians had no money for food. Now, for the same families, the regime demands payment for the bodies of their murdered loved ones. Well, it is clearly economic extraction disguised as administrative procedure. State violence masked as bureaucracy. In fact, some families have fought back with raw desperation. Hospital staff, risking their own safety, have warned these relatives to collect bodies before security forces could demand payment. In fact, in one case, a woman learned of her husband's death only when the hospital staff called using his own phone, urging her to retrieve his body immediately. Desperation drove several families to storm morgues in Tehran, breaking down doors and pulling bodies from ambulances, then guarding them in hospital courtyards for hours to prevent authorities from seizing them again. Well, the regime has also weaponized the bodies for propaganda. At a Tehran mortuary, officials offered family an alternative. Bodies would be released free if families publicly declared their dead were pro-government paramilitaries killed by the protesters, then participated in pro-regime rallies portraying their loved ones as regime martyrs. In fact, one family told the BBC, "We were asked to participate in a pro-government rally and portray the body as a martyr. We did not agree to this." Well, this is how regimes die, not with the bang of a bomb, but with the systematic debasement of human life. Khamenei's theocracy has proved that when economic promises crumble and political legitimacy evaporate, even then, the state has the audacity to extract money from grieving families and sell them their own dead.